Hello and welcome to UC Today. I'm Senior Editor Tom Wright, and today I'm joined by Simon Harrison from Avaya. How's it going, Simon?
Good, sir. Yeah, really appreciate you having me along, actually.
No, thanks a lot for taking the time to speak to us. To start with, it'd be great to hear a little bit about your role at Avaya and what it is you've been up to over what I'm sure has been a very busy 12 months or so.
Yeah, we could say that, couldn't we? So, Simon Harrison, Chief Marketing Officer for Avaya. I have the privilege of leading a team that's literally spread across the globe because we're obviously, Avaya is in market in 190 countries across the world. So marketing has a small amount of kind of influence and work to do there in being successful in so many regions. I guess my passion is to help people realise the value of the technology we create, and I love to stand on stages and inspire people. That's perhaps the best part of the job. But my career does span sort of 27 years in the UCCC market. I've had many years as a marketing leader and as a product leader, so I really do have a passion for getting people excited about the wonderful ways in which Avaya can help in this world. I was a leading Gartner analyst, which was great. Again, it was a privilege to have that role to help businesses address their ambitions and solve their problems using technology. So it's been one hell of a kind of a roller coaster in the last 12 years, trying to, I guess, achieve the impossible in some ways. Market for growth during a pandemic. I got hit with the fire drill of a lifetime, should we say. And we had to create the COVID hotline and thought leading advice and help with use cases and connect people to the various offers that we were trying to create, giving our technology away for free, as well as the business as usual, and probably new ways to growth given what was going on. And I would argue Spaces as our own workstream collaboration technology was absolutely central to our success. I'd say in the last 12 months we really did achieve something quite extraordinary. We changed the perception of the business. It was reflected in the numbers. You can see our stock price. Stock price is easy for me to say. Year-over-year growth, annual recurring revenue, CAPS revenue, whatever you want to use to measure our success, are all really in strong growth mode. I guess I had a lot of success gelling with my peers, especially Anthony, the Chief Product Officer, bringing all of the vision around our one cloud platform to life. And I would argue that we have pivoted somewhat to becoming more of a sort of a marketing first company as well. I like to talk about how we create the vision and develop the value we're trying to get our customers to understand, firstly through listening and looking and informing through the research, and then turning to the product organization saying, we're not liars, right? Don't make me a liar. Let's really deliver on this. And Anthony's that, we've got you, and that's what's going to happen. And I think actually we've become a company that is now very much a company that delivers on its promises, and we're delivering now the future of the market as part of our one cloud platform. Personally, I've learned an awful lot in the last 12 months. I've always been quite clear about my success being based on helping others to succeed. I think that's always prevalent in everything I do. It's about helping others, and I really do enjoy inspiring those audiences internally as well. I can mention that on the last all hands video update that I provided, I managed to mention Harry Potter, dinosaurs, exoskeletons, the Terminator movie, the first man thinking about having a head transplant. I managed to get people laughing and feeling good about what we do and how we do it in some fun ways, inspiring everyone to be feeling good about what it is we do. And the marketing leadership team are probably, I would argue, the best in the business. So I'm blessed to have such an incredible team. So that's a glimpse into what I do and what we have been doing, and perhaps what's personally so wonderful to me about the last 12 months and what we've achieved.
And then I suppose the move to remote working was one challenge, and we're faced with another challenge now in how we kind of get ready for hybrid working. And I'm just going to just read out a couple of figures from some research that Avaya recently published of, it was 11,000 end users across 9 countries, so quite a
Yeah.
a broad survey. And what really
Mm.
came out of that was the clear link between employee well-being and hybrid working. I think over half of respondents said that they believe hybrid working can improve their well-being. So I'd be interested to get your thoughts on the implications of this, I suppose, for the industry that we work in, and also for businesses who are trying to get ready for this.
Yeah, I mean, it's how to be a customer focused business perhaps today being the most important question. And I think actually customer focused now is a very different thing. It's about ultimately actually making customers part of the solution. Customer centricity would be about doing surveys and asking questions about the experience and so on after the event, and a few other great ways to get the voice of the customer. For all intents and purposes, you're still pretty much leaving the customer at arm's length. So if you look at the ways in which some businesses have shifted their business model, they are changing some of that. And I'll give an example in a moment. The when it comes to customer centricity, of course, we talk about how EX powers CX. So you need to make sure that you're covering both sides of the coin. You can't deliver great customer experiences if you don't have or offer good experiences for your employees too. And I think when it comes to one of the key shifts to deliver on this customer centricity, it's recognizing the importance of having a user experience defined as part of your technology that is always thinking about both sides of that coin. It is always managing that balance. If we do this to help a customer, how does it also help the staff in achieving the goal that we're probably thinking about or addressing with this technology? Ultimately, when we think about working from anywhere, more flexibility in working from anywhere is what we're realizing. Right, we're going to come out of this thing with more trust, more understanding, actually recognizing that staff can be even more productive if they're empowered to and be engaged and get what they need to get done where they are. But I think that face time is still very much something that we all want, for our own sanity. The hallway chats and the cafeteria chats are almost sort of respites in some ways, and coming to the office and just having a chat about things in a more relaxed way, but still being quite productive is a good thing. It's a nice thing as part of our professional sort of way of getting things done, and getting away from that very early on sign on when you work from home and then signing off late. You're late for the dinner all the time, and so there is this balance, as you say. If you think about that survey, really timely survey and important survey, suggesting that 56% of those asked would look forward to a hybrid working model as a way to potentially improve their well-being. So obviously, again, take care of your staff, you take care of your customers, and so what are employees looking for? As I said, as a timely and very important survey, helps us to realise that despite companies working out their strategies, and some are saying 100% work from home. In fact, that reminds me, I was on Twitter the other day. There was a guy that said, "I've been over a year working from home. I went to the office for the day. I'm happy to to leave it another year until I go back again." There's going to be such sort of diverse perspectives and opinions on this work from home as a sort of or work from anywhere as a policy. And then there's companies that have got the bias anyway. Or Avaya has always been a work from anywhere company, so not an awful lot has changed. Perhaps the weights and biases. And then there's other things like going to events, right? If you want to be at an event where you get that people time, that face time, and you bump into people that you've been working with in the industry for years, and you get to see some people on stage live, and you experience all that. We're social animals, right? These are things that then play into that policy conversation and how things might change. You can't, I guess, you think about having your cake and eating it, right? So there's going to be, I think the survey does a great job of illustrating the point around this hybrid work model being the preference. Not only does it make sense, but it certainly seems to will demonstrate benefits to the business, very much so. I think, as I say, they're realising that productivity hasn't necessarily gone down in this work from anywhere model, or where we've been working from home. If anything, we're doing more than we ever were, to realise new ways to growth, as it were. Overarching, keeping staff happy, will empower businesses to ensure customer-focused business like Avaya, delivering. They'll deliver more discretionary effort to create those more memorable experiences, as we often talk about. For the most difficult customers, as I describe them, the everything customer, that's us, who want to be relentlessly connected but left alone when it suits us, treated just the same as everyone else. Make sure you treat me just like Tom, but make sure when it suits me you serve me quite uniquely. I want you to expect me, but I want you to not be too complacent about how you expect me, and expect me to give you a few things that you wouldn't expect. I want fully featured and really deep and rich experiences, or support through technology and innovation, but I want effortless, and that's really at loggerheads. I mean, thinking about that one of the best examples, if I think about it, is my iPhone. Right, it's a DSLR shaming, AI infused, camera based technology. But when anyone asks me about why I got an iPhone, the answer is always the same: well, it's just easy to use. I want the richness of features, I want the fully featured capable things, but I want it effortless, and that is crucial. So in this world of work, there's I think what's changing. We can't necessarily predict precisely how things are going to change. We know about how hybrid is essential to the ambition, but we will see more and more use case based definitions of how we work. We've seen a bunch of new ones. If you think about the pandemic, curbside pickup. I never used Deliveroo and all these services before the pandemic, but now I don't know how I'm gonna. They're just part of my everyday getting things done, and things that are more on theme. Thinking about COVID as a vaccine packaged business capability, really important one. Avaya delivers a fantastic example of that. But use cases we could never have imagined, having a scouts meeting or a church service. There's so many more use cases that we've realised that the technology can be applied to, and that will be really the defining the North Star as part of the world of work as we move forwards. It will be, what are the things that we want to do now? We've got this world ready, is all sort of ready for these quite unique packaged business capabilities, and how we want to do that to balance our staff and employees, staff lifestyle, EX powering CX, etc. I'll give you one example of one of the best use cases in terms of the shift that I've seen. I've got my wonderful home device here, and it's often she'll show me the little spinning orange circle, and it's usually something to do with a delivery. So the other day I was walking around cleaning the flat, got my marigolds on, my rubber gloves on, and I noticed the orange circle because I've got these devices everywhere, and I asked the usual questions, asked if I had any messages. Wasn't that. Turns out I had a notification, and in the notification it said, Simon, you have an item in your favourites list that is now 50%. It's reduced from $14.99 to $7.99 or something like that. And would you like to have it delivered tomorrow? And I kind of thought to myself, wow, talk about an effortless experience. Here I am. I didn't have to research to get the best item. It was already something I was interested in, but it wasn't quite the right price. And I'm going to get it delivered tomorrow. The obvious answer is, resounding yes, please. That change in business capability, the way that Amazon is reaching into my life and making it so effortless as part of what I'm doing, that's a business model shift. And we're going to see more and more of those quite precise examples that power the future of work. These solutions have to be composed, and we're going to get a bit more into that as part of the chat here, I'm sure. And then with these more precise applications in everyone's experience world, in this experience economy, we see the opportunity for staff to then be doing more interesting things. As part of that, the front and back office becomes more dissolved, and then connecting the dots, the everything customer that I touched on then drives what I would describe as the everything employee. There's almost a marriage there. We have to worry about virtual versus physical. Always on. My marketing leadership team are like that. They're always available to collaborate with, but making sure they get the downtime, because that video meeting fatigue. Managing the balance of unplanned and fluid, and having to be really good at that, but needing to be better at planning because of the nature of the work. Being very collaborative and open to being part of that, but having to have that time where you can be very focused. This all surmises as delivering what we describe as a total experience, where we're thinking about the customer experience, the employee experience, the user experience, marrying those two sides of the same coin. A multi-experience, which is now thinking about being able to support all the different modalities that come from these devices: touch, gestures, natural language understanding, and thinking about that in the context of personas. Right. So if you're flying somewhere as a business colleague versus going on holiday with friends, or the many ways in which you use these apps and devices, given the different sort of mode that you're in. So the everything employee becomes kind of central to the total experience for customers' goal that we're trying to deliver on, and total experience is absolutely the goal. Thinking about all of this, all of these changes in the way that we're going to work, and it's going forward to work, I'm going to argue, not back to work. That's kind of I think a nice way to round off what is going to be, or is the difference now.
Yeah, so I want to ask you actually a little bit more about a couple of the trends you mentioned there. There was composability, the composable enterprise, and also total experience, which I'm sure a number of us will have been hearing a bit more, particularly at the start of this year. Could you just kind of talk through a little bit about what those trends mean for you at Avaya, and how you can help businesses achieve them?
Yeah, I mean, everything has changed. In the last decade, we're in Industry 4.0, right? And everything has changed. The data in the last decade has gone from 2 zettabytes to 41 zettabytes, and there's 21 zeros in a zettabyte, driving the most informed digital trail we've ever left, and combined with conscious biases, changing everything in the way we shop, the way we get around, the way we work. Everything has changed in dramatic form, powered by such tremendous innovation, more than we've ever seen in a decade. And so it's obvious that we were seeing so much change in the way that we're designing apps, and the principles of those designs. We talked about two sides of the same coin, but to be addressing things like technical debt. Businesses have got this kind of fragile infrastructure, and they've brought lots of technology. 7, 8 different apps form perhaps the basis of their customer service or customer experience application, beyond the contact center, WFM, analytics, knowledge management, all those things. Trying to move forwards, one way to describe it is, as a technical debt that they've got to try and address in a clever way, in a cost-effective and cost-efficient way. So that means more as a service, bimodal approach powered by API economy, realizing the difference in cloud buyer. It's no longer I&O, it's more about developers and DevOps guys deciding what is the right application to build native cloud apps on, and so on, and making buyers more intelligent. Right? So when it comes to the significance of the change in the last decades, it kind of summarizes to the fact that monolithic apps it just aren't going to cut it in the future. It's all about creating, as I've touched on more than once now, that these packaged business capabilities, these very specific use case based apps in this very agile way. Great example I touched on was the COVID-19 vaccination app that we built, which has got from a customer experience perspective, you can proactively notify targeted segments, identify candidates based on a HIPAA compliant view of the data, provide that different ways to respond based on multi-experience, different modalities, and given the type of person being reached. The employee experience is the other side of that coin. In the COVID app, perhaps providing nurses with patient information timely, etc. And then the automation side, figuring out using natural language understanding as well, the outreach to say, right, you're due your next shot now, and have you had any symptoms since the last one, and so on. All automated using a very clever user experience. So this is an example of really a sort of composable solution to address this total experience and ambition. And when it comes to Avaya, we have very much switched to what I think is absolutely prevalent in the industry when it comes to any successful vendor, and that is to a platform solution company. Right? We are not looking to create and provide this huge application that would have to grow disproportionately to keep up with all of these experience challenges. We are, One Cloud Platform is very much a composable platform that becomes effectively pluggable when it comes, whether it's the voice-based connectivity or the engagement channel connectivity at the bottom. We can plug into anything that belongs to us. Different types of consumption style, whether it's public or private cloud-based, for example. And then at the core orchestration layer, the workflow layer, or the AI layer, where we can make things where it's very pluggable and very composable there, or whether it comes to connecting to what it is that's happening at the user experience end, beyond just the desktop. We're integrating with CRM apps. There's kind of those composed apps that are perhaps part of a curbside service, or as part of a whatever it might be. One of the good examples perhaps is Uber. That is definitely an app that's been composed with customer and employee experience as part of the same UX design. So that's a glimpse into how we think about addressing the total experience ambition using composability in the One Cloud composable platform. But I can kind of talk on that a little bit more if it's useful to you, Tom, just to tease out some of the more precise ways in which we're delivering.
Yeah, and we've touched upon the technology a little bit, haven't we? You mentioned sort of One Cloud a couple of times, but it'd be good to get a real understanding of how this technology is actually helping bring to life these trends.
I mean, it's so exciting, right? Because if you think about when it comes to the applications that people go and buy to address these specific use cases, it's not so obvious, right? I mean, if you think about I'm just going to mute her. The Alexa experience. I don't imagine that there was a team of people that went into a room, got some whiteboards out, and built out a monolithic app. That just wouldn't have been built that way. And there's a ton of experiences out there that wouldn't have come to fruition if you had that grand app design sort of approach. And so if you consider, let's consider that experience I had with Alexa, right? Where it said, do you want to buy this thing, and it's delivered tomorrow. It's a prime thing. It's so effortless, so great, so wonderful to see how the technology has just made it just part of my life. That's something that you would not go and buy a CCaaS app for, right? You would not necessarily go and buy a UCaaS app for. You'd have to be thinking about CPaaS as a starting point, communications platform as a service, with that API event model, where it can invoke those communication methods that make it more than just an API service, more than something you just call as part of a client's, sort of a HTTP request, sort of client-side request to do something to get a response, like natural language understanding, right? So natural language understanding, you pass this thing and transcribe text interpretation of what was said, and it sends back what it thinks it understood and the intent. That's all very reasonably simple. Everyone has a similar model, fine. But when you layer in the communication aspects and the complexity of a voice network and everything else, it becomes just a bit more difficult. So CPaaS is an underlying core platform aspect, and I would argue now essentially what everyone has to be thinking about when it comes to buying a cloud platform is what we deliver as part of the One Cloud Platform, essentially sort of central to it. CPaaS becomes a force multiplier to what we deliver when it comes to our CCaaS applications, our UCaaS applications, and then in applications like Spaces, that is actually a visualization, a realization of a CPaaS, of what we call One Cloud CPaaS. But it demonstrates wonderfully the end result of what you can create, but also enables you can decompose it and repurpose the video capabilities, the chat capabilities, the tasks, the posts into your own apps. And that's really what what the One Cloud platform was all about. It's accelerating the ability to compose applications, decompose applications, recompose. So your CCaaS application, Mr. Customer, could incorporate all the things you might expect from one of our competitive CCaaS apps, but then it's extended through the UCaaS apps capabilities we've decided to compose as part of this solution. Perhaps Spaces is now delivering the video in the agent's workspace. And then the CPaaS capabilities extend it even further. For example, the COVID application again becomes part of the agent workspace, and the communication methods that the agent has available within the workspace is complementary to what the chat feature and the co-browse feature, etc. they expect as part of that contact center desktop. And so this, sort of composing this really quite extraordinary, much more aligned to the evolved experience economy solution is what Avaya One Cloud is all about. Creating those personalized to cloud journeys. We create the bridge when it comes to hybrid technology. Can empower our existing on-premise deployments, can be bridged using our CPaaS platform to more SaaS-based technologies. The customer journeys have become much more complex. Based on these use cases, we can take care of that as part of the platform. It supports and works very harmoniously with all of the cloud platforms that everyone kind of knows about, when it comes to Google Cloud Platform, the Azure platform, and when it comes to Oracle or any of the others, Amazon Web Services, we can complement, define something that's really quite purposeful based on the One Cloud platform to be part of a broader, bigger, and what is actually the reality of customer experience, an organizational wide solution that positions Avaya very uniquely. Actually, there's no other vendor in the world that is thinking about the experience economy, the completeness of it, and the challenge of trying to address it with monolithic apps. And I'll even call some of our competitors CCaaS apps as apps that have just grown into a single sort of code base. That's not going to serve the world for the future. That's no good for where the world is unfolding based on this tremendous amount of change in the last decade. Forgive for the the ways in which I've answered that. I've got so much to talk about, and obviously we haven't got an awful lot of time, but hopefully that gave some colour to the ways in which we think about our Avaya One Cloud platform, an AI-powered experiences platform. That's really what it is, to deliver on the promise of total experience, the real target in this world.
That's brilliant. I think it really did cover everything, and I think it's probably a good place to leave things as well. Thank you so much, Simon, for joining us today and sharing your insights.
Pleasure, sir. Really appreciate you letting me share a few things.
Thank you, everyone, for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please feel free to give us a like and a share on social media. We really appreciate it. But until next time, I'm Tom Wright from UC Today, and thanks for watching.